Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our second video for session one. We're going to look at why do people volunteer? This is not a nation of masochists, so they're not beating themselves up by volunteering. They're getting something from it, or they wouldn't be doing it. Why do they volunteer? Well, a lot of research done recently shows a whole list of reasons. One is to support a cause. Whether you're working on helping people who are homeless or helping kids who need special help in school, whatever, your cause appeals to them and they join it. They want to give something back. Maybe they've had some good help as they were growing up or in their early life, and they want to pay back. And they see people in need, either in person, standing on a corner with a sign saying, "Help, I need food," or when they go online and they think, "How can I help?" So they're looking for ways to do that. A very big reason is it's rewarding. There's scientific research to back this up, a helper's high that is a lot like a runner's high. There actually are good endorphins that are released, and people have energy and good feelings when they reach a certain point when they're running and when they're volunteering. Or they may feel a moral obligation, either something their parents told them or what their faith tradition tells them, that you should give back to society. And they may very well want a new skill. They wish they knew how to do something, and it looks as if you might teach them that. They might want to impress their employer. And in that case, they certainly would covet a letter to their employer telling what they did to go into their personnel file. As we mentioned, they might be mandated to, and they might simply want to connect with other people. It's not so much what they're doing as that they're doing it together. This is especially true when people have just moved to a community and are wanting to make connections. So why do people volunteer with your organization? Think about it and spend a few minutes jotting down why you think people are there. You might want to ask your volunteers, what drew you to volunteer with us? And note their answers, because they'll certainly help you in recruiting other volunteers if you find out why people who are already there came to join you. Now, in your pre-work for this session, you're asked to take a brief survey about social motivators. It's developed by a man named McClellan, and it's an amazing theory because it is so helpful in helping you understand yourself and in helping you draw volunteers to your program. McClellan, in a lot of research, came to the conclusion that we have three basic reasons why we get involved in anything. We all have all three of those motivators, but at any given point in our life, one of them probably takes the lead. It's the one that is pushing us forward at the time. Those motivators are achievement, affiliation, and influence. Now, what does that mean? Well, people who are high achievers value excellence. They hate sloppy work. They hate things left undone. They're willing to take risks if the goal is clear, and they're innovative. In fact, they're likely to say, "Why are we doing it this way? Couldn't we do that?" They're very task-oriented. If they get started on something, they're going to stick with it till the end. They tend to be independent. They'll work with other people, but sometimes get impatient with other people if they think they're slowing the process rather than helping with it. And they love challenges. Nothing discourages a high achiever more than having the solution delegated, like saying, "We need to get to point B, and this is how we're going to get there." What they want is, "We need to get to point B, and we appreciate your input on how we can do that." Then there are those motivated by affiliation at any given time. They're looking basically for socialization, friendship, and relationships, often including relationships with you, you'll notice, as the volunteer manager. People are particularly motivated by affiliation when something has changed in their lives and their social circle is not what it was. They've retired or moved, or the last kid has left home, something of that sort. And then the least frequent, and maybe that's a good thing, motivation is influence. Influencers are decision makers. They generally are pretty skilled. They're very independent. They're outspoken. They have impact and influence, and they're willing to help your organization have impact and influence. They tend to be outspoken and somewhat impatient. They're often not good in meetings because about halfway through the meeting, they see where we should be going. Why aren't we getting there? They are often good board members, and they're good spokespersons for your organization. So how can you apply this information when you're engaging volunteers? Think about it and note your ideas. You might also note what your own motivation is at the moment and how that might be affecting how you relate to certain volunteers who either share that motivation at the moment or don't share it. Then we're going to look at the volunteer landscape. Why do people volunteer today? What gets in the way of volunteering? And how can you get them to join you? If we look at volunteering then, and if we look at that as maybe 25, 30 years ago, and now, you'll see some real differences. Volunteering now, people have a lot more choices. If you live in a good-sized community, people have literally hundreds of choices where they might volunteer. They used to have fewer. They used to be asked to do simpler tasks. Would you roll bandages? Would you sort food? Whatever. And now there are more sophisticated choices using their skills, more opportunities. Nobody used to worry that much about liability, and now they're concerned about what personal liability they have, and they also want to know about your organization's liability. They used to be more organization focused. I volunteer for the Red Cross. I volunteer for the hospital rather than mentioning the cause. They gave more time. They could stay longer. And as I said, they tended to serve your organization. Now they have increased expectations. How are you going to prepare me? How are you going to support me? They can't give you as much time, maybe as much time as they'd like, or sign up for as long a period. If all your volunteer positions say you have to serve for a year, you'll find that you're eliminating the major part of the volunteer population. And they want to partner with you. They don't want to work for you so much as work with you for your cause. And what do they want? They want a choice. If you only have one volunteer position, that's not going to work. They want flexibility. Maybe they can't come every Friday from 1 to 4, and you may have to adjust schedules. They're looking for short-term opportunities. If every position description you have says sign up for a 6-month minimum, a lot of them just won't be able to promise that. They don't even know if they'll be living here in 6 months. And they're looking for skills-based assignments, either skills they have or skills you will help them develop. But they're not just, it's not just anybody can do this. It's, people with these skills do this well. They're looking for connection to a cause, to community, to one another, to your organization. This is especially true since the outbreak of COVID, because people felt so disconnected. They're now hungry for connections. And as we mentioned, they expect training. So how are those trends affecting your organization? Think about, when I'm trying to recruit, what here is getting in the way? What are we doing that may have worked in the 20th century, but it doesn't work today? And what can we do about it? And think about it and make some notes of your responses, and we'll share them in a group when we get together.